Hello, everybody. I'm walking home in the dusk right now because I just saw a movie that I hated, and I want to tell y'all all about it. I want to let my hatred flow, because my hate has made me powerful. Yeah, I hated this movie. Hated it. Now, why did I see it in the first place? You're going to ask. Did I mention what it was? The movie I saw is the movie called Here. And the title of the movie is Here. The director is Robert Zemeckis. Hack! Total hack. Overrated. Yes, I liked the Back to the Future movies when I was a kid. But I mean, geez. Do people actually still think Forrest Gump wasn't just a modeling, I don't know, wasn't just a shitty modeling, treacly, now I would say that concept-wise, Forrest Gump and this movie I just saw and hated, Here, conceptually speaking, they were the concept is interesting. Forrest Gump having, the main character be this retarded guy who just lives through all of these historical events and doesn't really know what's going on. That's kind of an inspired idea, kind of funny. Unfortunately, the execution is absolutely shit, I believe. I know people disagree with me because it's an American treasure. But no. And now this movie Here. Now what the concept of Here is that the camera is staying in one spot and it's remaining in the same spot over various points of history, and most of it takes place in this house. All right, but sometimes it's a locate before the house was built. That one spot on the earth is open air, so we see something from the primordial ooze, days of the primordial ooze. We see Indians running around and fucking. Yes, we do. And hunting deer, and we see slaves making way for a carriage to come in. That's the one kind of interesting thing is it's where the place across the way is a colonial building where Benjamin Franklin's son lived, and I guess his son was pro-British, and so they could have done something interesting with that. That's just an interesting fact of history. And he doesn't think his father's his ideas are worthwhile. He thinks he'll be just forgotten by history and so forth. All right, that's kind of interesting, but most of it is taking place after this house has been built on the spot. And I guess it's built sometime in the late 1800s, and then we see some of the families who live there, and then there's the main family that moves in with Tom Hanks. The alarm bells are going off right now as I say that man's name. Yes, Tom Hanks shows up, just like he did, just like in Forrest Gump. Figures that he'd be Zemeckis's, main man. And so most of the movie is about Tom Hanks's family, whether it be his mother and father or his own life, and then his kid's life, and then his marriage. And sometimes we flash forward to after the house is sold and now it's owned by, a very a wealthy and successful black family. Yeah. And so don't come at Zemeckis with your representation complaints, because he's got it all in here. He's got this. This is a movie that, in addition to being just in addition to being catnap for boomers, because most of this movie takes place in the 50s, 60s, and 70s. Most of it, it's like Wonder Years kind of stuff. And so, but of course the movie affirms women's lib, how the women in the old days couldn't work, and that was such a terrible thing, and now they can work. And isn't that great? Isn't that great that women can be cubicle dwellers too? Isn't that great? Thanks, CIA. Thanks for making that change so that families can be broken up more easily, and you can brainwash the children more easily. And Zemeckis is right there with you, isn't he? Of course he is. Yeah. So, so women's lib is affirmed. Black Lives Matter is affirmed. Every single, liberal platitude is out there to be affirmed, other than the gay lesbian stuff. They don't really go there. There's no gay lesbian stuff, no gay lesbian trans stuff. So that's the one threshold that he didn't cross. But everything else, the movie finds ways of affirming it all, while also, kind of appealing to the traditionalist minded, to the nostalgic, and it also, it even affirms the COVID narrative. They show a scene where the new black couple, the successful black couple, yeah baby, successful and black, they're buying this house, this nice house, from the realtor, and the guy and the realtor both are wearing masks, and they touch their elbows together. I fucking hate that fucking elbow touch together thing. I fucking despise that more than, really, I don't know if there's another gesture that I hate more than the elbow touching thing. It's better just not to do anything at all, right? If you really are this 6 foot apart, let's keep sheaths over our faces at all times, blocking our airways at all times. If you're really going to do that, if you're really going to commit to that, then don't do the elbow touch thing. Just say, bye, good to see you, I don't want to touch you, but no, we're going to be all jokey and do the elbow touch thing. We're going to be all, yeah. So that's there. I mean, it's like there's every single little itty bitty touch. Every touch that this movie has just winds up further making my hate boner grow larger and larger and larger. And it's the worst thing about it is that it's interesting enough of a concept that even while how maudlin it is, how cheesy it is, and the cheap propaganda that it's selling, it's still fairly watchable. Now, the one thing about it that almost salvages the movie somewhat is, I mentioned how it affirms women's lib. Well, we see Tom Hanks' wife, after he gets her pregnant, when they're both kids, he can't go to college. He starts having to work as a salesman, like his dad did. He works the same. By the way, his salesman is like Willy Loman. His dad is like a Willy Loman, death of a salesman. I tell you, I'm trying so hard to sell things and nothing's working, and another drink. He's just like, that's his dad. But Hanks has to do that too. He doesn't take to drink, but he just gives up his passion, which is art, and she feels stifled, and as she gets older and older, she feels just more and more like, she doesn't like living in the house with his parents, which is understandable, but it's like, you work this kind of stuff out. Things aren't optimal in a marriage. You work it out. You both give a little. You trust in your husband, right? No, we don't do that these days. And then, and so her daughter, she has a daughter, and her daughter ends up being into punk rock and becoming a lawyer. Yeah, you go, girl. And then she realizes when she turns 50, I've never gotten to do anything that I wanted to do. I kept putting it off. And it's supposed to be this sad scene, where she's sitting there crying with the 50th birthday cake in front of her with the candles lit. And by the way, they do the de-aging stuff, which it's okay at sometimes, at certain points. Other points, it is somewhat uncanny. It is a little bit like I don't know, like something out of the back rooms. But this bitch, the mom of this family, the wife, Tom Hanks' wife, ends up divorcing him, leaving him behind for no good reason. No reason other than that she's not happy. And the movie sort of, there's a red-pilled way of watching this movie, of watching those scenes involving the woman just saying, I didn't get to go to college and become a lawyer. I had to just be a housewife, and I didn't accomplish anything. It's just affirming that whole, feminist idea that a woman is only valuable if she gets out into the professional world and does stuff. If she's just a housewife, that's just nothing. That's just, she buys into that. The wife/mother does, and she ends up leaving. She brings home her quote unquote life coach, and he tells them he basically tells them he thinks they should get divorced in his house. And he properly responds to that. He says, "Fuck you, get out of my house." So at least there's that. But there's never any acknowledgement of her frivolousness. At least she waited until the kids were grown. But still, I just don't hold with this. I'm not happy in this marriage, so I'm leaving you kind of mentality. Just, you work it out. It's supposed to be a lifelong commitment. But he ends up apologizing later. He ends up saying, well, you know what, I just spent so much time worrying, and I'm sorry I did that. I'm sorry that I worried so much and I couldn't be the man that you needed me to be. He apologizes. She's the one who broke up their marriage, and he's apologizing. Yeah. So then she gets Alzheimer's. Serves her right. God's revenge. I mean, I'm being a little bit over the top right now, but I mean, I'm not going to feel bad for this woman who threw away her marriage, who left her husband behind. For who her husband, he wasn't abusive, he wasn't he didn't cheat on her. She just wasn't happy. You know, that's the divorce. So it affirms the divorce revolution and women's lib and all that. It's a piece of propaganda, but it masquerades as just this treacly, like I said, boomer bait. And I think that's why I hate it so thoroughly. I wasn't expecting to hate it this much. I thought it would maybe be sentimental and but I don't know. I had it open. I went into it with an open mind. But no. Hated this movie. Hated it. And yes, I'm venting right now, but that doesn't mean that I'm insincere. That doesn't mean don't take this as, oh well, he's just getting this out of his system, and now he feels a little bit more mildly about it, and he's going to be able to be more rational about it. No, everything I just said was valid. Everything, all of my thoughts about the movie were completely sober and valid and true. And I am right. Now, I might not have to get quite so hot under the collar next time I talk about the movie, if I ever talk about it again. But I still wanted to let it be known how I feel. And I am right. So, here, go elsewhere. Go become nowhere. Here, you suck, you're terrible. Zemeckis, you're a hack. Good night.